Hey all, Choiboy here. Welcome to another video. Short one today. It's the monthly June 2020 Sharesies update for you all. My portfolio has changed. I sold something and I bought something. I have everything covered here, so you can't really see anything here, but I will show you pretty soon. Before I go into everything, I would like to thank everyone who subscribed to the channel. I finally reached over 300 subs now. I never expected this channel to grow that much in such a short amount of time. I started blowing up in April, and it seems like everyone was pretty bored at home during the lockdown and they wanted to get into stocks, and hopefully they just rolled over, looking through YouTube, then found my channel, be like, oh, this guy's actually talking about some nice content. So hit the subscribe and the like button, and you should do the same if you haven't done that already. So disclaimer, please do not buy and sell stocks because I talk about them here. Please do your own research before you do that. I'm not a financial advisor, and take everything with a grain of salt because I'm not always going to be right. I will try my best to be as logical and infuse a lot of common sense into my contents, and hopefully it makes sense for beginners and experienced people. But I don't really want people just following my portfolio, and I do delay the information I release to YouTube, at least a few days later, just because I don't want people following me live. Right? If I say, hey, I bought a stock today and if I upload it today, maybe a lot of people might buy it as well. I don't really want that. I want people to take my content as, a bit more constructive and a bit more, useful for, future researching and how to research, what to look into, and, what kind of things you need to think about when you're buying stocks. And, I've been doing some live videos. So I normally do them like Saturday night. Maybe there is no schedule, but I just schedule it on the day or the day before. Please hop onto one of those live channels, and you can probably ask me a question and I can answer them live. Very, very long constructive feedback. If you would like that, that's up to you to join some other time. Now let's get straight into it. I have my webcam. I will move it. So my portfolio is now $8,850 total. It was $9,300 last week, but it did go up pretty fast and it wasn't really sustainable. The pump was actually pretty crazy. I mean, the market looked so bullish, but it dropped on Friday. Now, a lot of company got wrecked on the Friday dip, and I seen all these Facebook groups and like New Zealand investors like crying. They're like, oh no, my stocks dipped. It was kind of foreseeable, to be honest. I've always talked about in my previous recent videos, I've been talking about I am pretty bearish about the market trend. When most people buy, smart money starts taking profit. Now the higher it goes faster, the people who've been holding for a very long time would now be like, hey, actually, this is a good time to take profit. So they'll take profit. And that's exactly what happens when the price gets too high and when it's not growing at a sustainable rate. When it's going too fast, then it gives a lot of anxiety. And people like me who've been looking at the markets for like the past 5-6 years and maybe even longer than me, like 10-20 years, when they see these kind of things, they get scared. We actually get scared when the markets go up too fast. I don't think people realize the faster the market goes up, and especially for no reason, we could say level 2 and level 1 had a very big impact to the stock market, but has it really? So in that kind of aspect, I'm not really sure if that pump was completely, justifiable. That's a thinking point for you. Please have a think because I'm not too sure. Anyways, we'll carry on. I have added quite a bit more money. I think in May it was around $6,600 in total. I did add another $1,000 since then, and yeah, I actually bought it last week. I bought a new company and I sold a company. Normally I try not sell a company, but I just thought there were better opportunities to take. So that is a thing that happened. Overall, I am 40% up. I guess the percentage doesn't really matter over time because I'm constantly adding money, so it kind of dilutes the total percent returns. At some point it was 70%, 60%, 80%. Then I added more money. Then that suddenly becomes like 50%, 40%. So, percent returns actually is based off your whole portfolio and your principal value, the amount you contributed yourself. So don't worry about it too much. If you've been in the market since March or April, when everything was getting pretty boring at home and stuff like that, and if you're still not positive, please stick to a fund or something like that. Maybe stock picking isn't for you. It has to be very harsh reality here. Stock picking isn't for everyone, so I do really want everyone to realize that it takes a lot of time and effort to pick out good stocks. Even if the research says this company will go up in value, it really depends on how other people perceive or how other people view the company as well, and the majority wins pretty much. So it's kind of hard to explain that in short sentences, but that's the general kind of thing you really want to think about when picking stocks. So my total profits is 2.6k. It was a bit higher, but it dropped on Friday. You can see that, in May, I think this is when I made my previous video. Not much, then it started going like crazy, and while it was going up, I added another $1,000 and I bought a new company. This is my 5 companies I still hold. Now, you can guess the difference here. So Abano still the same, Kathmandu still the same from the previous one. Plexure actually has a lot more money in it now, and you would have realized that I've sold Bliss. Now, Bliss was a pick from me back in April because I thought the New Zealand market and maybe the rest of the world might be thinking Bliss's product could be really beneficial in a time like this with COVID and stuff like that. People thinking more about the immune system and stuff like that, but it really doesn't look like it, even though Bliss had a really, really good financial return. I'm not sure. I'm actually not sure. And I just thought there were better opportunities there. So I've sold Bliss because I was getting very, very unsure. I think the biggest factor for me with Bliss and why I sold Bliss is probably because of the scalability. I don't think a small team of like maybe 50, under 100 people, Bliss has under 100 people employed, I think. And, it's hard to scale that up and the production and stuff like that. They're very research based as well. So I think it's a bit slow and it might mature up over the years, but it's probably not something for me where I'm looking for high risk and high returns. So yeah, it didn't feel like a fit with the rest of my stock, so I sold that. And everything that I sold from Bliss, it was like around $1,100. I put that into Plexure, and yeah, and that's exactly why you can see that Plexure came up so much. Actually didn't go up ever since, but Plexure, for people who don't know, I am going to be going back to Plexure. I used to work at Plexure, and yeah, I am returning back, so I won't be talking much about the company anymore. So please, I'm very sorry for that. But yeah, company policies, I don't want to go to jail. So please have that in mind. But I am buying Plexure shares every now and then. I'm pretty bullish about Plexure in the long run. It's kind of like Google employees buying up their options or something like that. We don't get that kind of thing, so we just buy it yourself, I guess. So that's the kind of thing here. I'll just go through the other ones real quick and we'll finish the video. Abano, nothing much happened with Abano. I mean, they did have like a COVID update. They said they can recover pretty much pre-COVID levels over time. They didn't say too much about anything really, but I think most people were pretty bullish about Abano, so there was a little pump here last week. It didn't do anything for quite a while, like a month. It did nothing for a month, then it suddenly just popped off like that. Like, imagine all the people who sold here. They were like, oh, it's not doing much, let's just sell it. And people who would have bought down here, like me for example, would have been pretty tempted to sell it off because it was actually doing nothing. And this is why I don't sell too quickly unless there's a clear reason to. it's kind of like this. You just don't know what's going to happen, especially in a time like this and a climate like this. You're just not sure, and you don't want to take the risk of, selling a stock and losing out on that opportunity cost if it does still go up over time. So this is why it is better to look at stocks in the long term, and if you believe in the company and the fundamentals back it up, then it's normally a good call. Well, hopefully, assuming you're pretty good at stock picking. So in that kind of aspect, I'm pretty all right with the Bano so far. As it does reach the pre-COVID levels, I will be thinking it might reach that pretty quickly, and I'm not sure if I'm going to be holding it for too long. The way I'm looking at stocks is slightly changing over time. I guess I'm learning as well, not just you guys, but I'm learning the markets myself. It's my first time experiencing a recession or something like that, and actually investing during a time like this. It's very interesting. It's a very good time to learn, and yeah, we'll see what I'm gonna do. I did not expect the markets to recover this fast, so I'm actually quite hesitant, but I am still generally looking for a second dip. But Ibano is a very small company, so I'm not sure if they're gonna dip as much as the other companies that recovered a lot more and has a lot more capital. Let's see how Ibano goes in the future. I'll get to Augusta last, because Augusta is the new addition. While I sold Bliss, I added $1,000 to the portfolio, as I mentioned before, and I bought Augusta with it. I'll get there last. Kathmandu, nothing much really. A steady growth, actually. Nothing much going on at all. It's a relatively sustainable growth, to be honest, compared to other companies that just pump like crazy. Kathmandu is actually holding its ground quite well. It's not going up too fast. It is going up pretty fast, but not as fast as the other companies. So I think it's a really good long-term hold for me. I think people are being quite sensible with Kathmandu. There's nothing much going on except for the fact that, it's winter season right now and people might be buying up, Kathmandu stuff and, all these kind of speculation going on. But that's what's happening with Kathmandu. Nothing much from my portfolio aspect. It's pretty much the same. Plexure, just talked about it. They had a really good financial year. If you haven't looked at the financial report, I think their revenue went up by 50%-ish. And yeah, I think they turned in some profits, I think. So that's pretty nice. Please check that out. I will have to confirm that. Vista Group, nothing much. They did have a capital raise. You would know that, and they're actually going for a restructure right now, and they announced it in the NZX now. It's quite controversial when companies go for restructures. It might end up really well, it might not. It's quite a gamble, really, because the company doesn't know the long-term effect of a restructure. Well, they like to, make some really good guesses, educational guesses, or, experience-based guesses, but we actually don't know how a restructure will affect the long-term growth of a company. So this is a very interesting one. Vista is coming up quite slowly up as well. Actually, it's kind of like Kathmandu in a sense in terms of growth. I will hold it for just a wee while and see how it goes. Markets are recovering quite fast and I'm not feeling too confident. If they do dip, I will buy up more of them. If they do go up quite fast and let's say it reaches pre-COVID levels, then I might actually think about selling some and realizing some gains, because I'm just not sure anymore. My crystal ball, my cloudy crystal ball that I used to, make predictions with, is just getting cloudier every day. I just don't know what's going to happen with this kind of climate. The stock market is kind of reacting in a different way of what I thought it would be. In a sense, it's kind of doing what I wanted to, but in some other sense, it's not. So it's pretty confusing for me as well. Cool so far. Last one for the day before I finish it off. Augusta, my new addition to the portfolio. Augusta is a property management property investor company. Pretty much they hold quite a bit of assets, Their equity is not too bad. They're a relatively small company. It's like $100 million company, 125, 150 mil, something around that. So, what happened is that it's very, very interesting. I came in at a very interesting time. So, I've been looking at Augusta for roughly a month now, and during May, I was like, it's holding its ground pretty well. It's not dipping further, not much here, like during this time. And I was very tempted to buy, but I wanted to kind of form that consolidation kind of range properly. So that's why I waited a bit. And at this point, last week, when was that? Last week, Wednesday, I just bought some. And yeah, look what happened now. Boom, it was going down on Friday just a bit, not as much as other companies because they've been at the bottom for quite a while now. They're like probably the worst performer in the past month before this pump. Yeah, and today it pumped quite a lot. And what happened, you need to know what happened, what causes a pump, especially this big. It went from 68.5 cents all the way to 90 cents. It did reach up to like 92 cents or something like that during the day. Now, what happened was that Augusta was supposed to be taken over by a company called Centuria, which is also a property investment company. And they were supposed to take over Augusta for $2 per share back in January. And that was like when the takeover offer was, coming along. Then that got cancelled in March or something like that. Then, after that, people just started selling. You could have realized, see, as soon as it starts falling, and I think the announcement came out around here that the takeover was not going to go through. But I think people started selling, and this might have been the insiders. I'm not too sure. But people just didn't see it coming. It started falling like crazy from $2 range all the way below $1. And it just dipped even more, probably because of COVID, and no one's using any of the buildings. They're all at home. So it wasn't looking too great for the properties, especially for the commercial properties as well. Everything was looking pretty meh. And then Centuria started up a takeover notice of taking over 100% of Augusta for $1 a share. And that was the news that came out today. And that caused a lot of, what am I gonna do? Augusta's gonna be sold. It's not an offer, it's a notice. It's not confirmed yet. It's probably like the communication stage. They're talking about it. It's not going to go through yet. It needs to be a takeover offer before it will happen, and hopefully then they'll release a date and stuff like that. But until then, we're not sure. Overall, I'm pretty lucky to be in Augusta because they had a really good pump today, and like, who really knew an announcement like this would come out? Like, I might be selling my Augusta pretty quickly now because it's $1 a share. So that's pretty hard limit. That's in people's head now. They're like, dollar. And this is why the pump happened towards $1. I will be selling maybe around 95 cents. Not sure. I'll keep my eyes out and I'll sell it when I see the right opportunity. But it won't be too far ahead. Anyways, that's pretty much all for today. I've been talking for quite a while, even though I said it's a short video, so sorry about that. But yeah, if you like today's video, give me that thumbs up. Please hit the like button for the algorithm, and put a comment down below what you thought about my portfolio and any other companies, and questions you might want to ask me about. Just put it down below and I'll probably get back to you and reply as soon as I can. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. You should have done it in the beginning of the video. I'm looking at you. Put the bell notification for my future updates, and look out for my live videos. I do them every now and then, maybe like every 2 weeks, every month or something like that. It's not scheduled, but I get in there and I answer a lot of questions. You don't want to miss that. And until next time, I'll catch you around.